trying to create space for this Wukong to farm. Your all-in is actually quite strong there too. If you can land a Senna root into the knock-up there from the Wukong, the all-in potential is pretty powerful. Obviously, the Senna able to give support and added damage with the ultimate for the Wukong, allowing him to dive more deeply with the ultimate shields there also. And this is more of that kind of team fight style of composition here from Cloud9, which I guess is less typical from them. They have been more picking like roaming and skirmishing and winning lanes and all this sort of stuff. So I'm going to be really curious to see how this goes, because I do see ways that TSM can actually win this. I think that they have an advantageous lane top lane. I think they have an advantageous lane mid lane and bot lane. I actually give them 3 winning lanes here. Whether or not they can execute on that is a different story. But I mean, you have Varus Bard against a Wukong who's trying to farm. That's actually really, really difficult in the early stages. LeBlanc, has the ability to bully out Azir potentially in the early game. It can be a more of a 50-50 matchup if the Azir can kind of just outpush LeBlanc. Sometimes you can negate that a bit. Mordekaiser are definitely favored. So this is interesting.
Yeah. And we already know that kind of Cloud9 plays their bot lane weak side. Of the players in this game, the bottom 2 in gold difference at 10 are Vulcan and then Sven beneath that. They are very typically behind at 10 minutes. The other 3 on Cloud9 go ahead. Obviously TSM, very strong in a lot of lanes here. The real Cloud9 flip is between 10 and 15. That's when they get all their money, when you start grouping up and playing team fights. That's the really big early mid-game strength for C9. But I agree, the early lanes are going to be very interesting. We know Licorice tends to be super dominant up at the top side, but second place in gold difference at 10 in that top lane is Broken Blade on the other side. These are the 2 best performing top laners in early lane dominance. They're going head to head in a matchup, as you say, is going to be Broken Blade favored. You're liking all these lanes here. We know Bjergsen is an outstanding player here as well. Spica is I think the 2nd jungler in gold difference of players who've played more than like 4 games. There's a lot of good stuff here on the TSM side. I expect their early game to look really explosive. I think the team fight's going to be really interesting because Azir has to do so much of the heavy lifting in the overall team fight status. Wukong not the same persistent damage that you're going to get out of a Varus, for example. So very intrigued to see where these team comps move around as time goes on, as we group up, as we get into team fights. And so with the players loaded up and ready to hit the Rift, it's finally time to jump in to Cloud9 versus TSM. Hello and welcome to Summoner's Rift. Sven's giving us a thumbs up because we have the match of the week here, Cloud9 and TSM. A battle between the most dominant team in LCS history and the winningest team in LCS history, TSM. Got all those stars in the jersey for all those trophies they've hoisted. The number 2 team in the LCS right now, one of only 2 teams to beat Cloud9 all year, hoping to bring it back again.
It's going to be a really exciting game. Such different styles of compositions coming out for this team. You can see triple TP actually on both sides. So, a lot of ability to move around the map to match aggression. If there are any ganks coming in, you have to be very wary of those types of plays. And minor thing, but this is actually Bjergsen getting a deep ward there. You can just start the distortion on LeBlanc. He distorts over the Dragon Wall, drops that ward. It's very safe to actually look for those types of plays because you can just W right back over that wall. It is worth noting I did look up some of the Wukong bot stats. So it is actually 5-2 in pro play across the major regions. So has been fairly successful. Obviously fairly small sample size, of just those 7 games, but is already doing quite well.
Yeah, and of course we got to see Mad Lions bring it out twice as well, drafting Senna Wukong into Varus lanes. So other teams have gone for this exact sort of setup where you're doing it into the matchups. Varus tends to be very frail early game, has a lot of range, but that doesn't tend to matter when you can close the gap on Wukong E. So hoping to abuse maybe low durability. Gotta say, Grasp on Senna, really, really nice as well. Of course, your Q applies on hits. You can like whack a minion once, wait 3 seconds, then Q through, and you poke them, plus get Grasp off, so your poke can be very good. There it is, for example. And yeah, it can look really, really solid.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if he's going to go for kind of the latter build that I've been seeing, which is just Grasp Senna, and it's full on like tank, like Frozen Mallet Rush with Grasp, and you're just playing to be incredibly annoying. To essentially, instead of having Glacial Augment, you replace that with the Frozen Mallet, you apply the slows with that, you're constantly stacking up Grasp for the bonus, permanent health that you are getting. And yeah, to talk about the Varus versus the Wukong, Varus Bard, your job is to poke them down enough that they can't look for an all-in. Because the all-in is very threatening, especially post-6. As you said, Varus is fairly frail, doesn't have, a tremendous amount of mobility. So the all-in with Senna and Wukong can look very, very good. But if the Wukong is poked out too heavily before he gets the opportunity, well, guess what? You can't all-in at 20-30% health. And that's kind of what these two lanes are going to be looking to do. It's very atypical bot lane. You can expect the Wukong Senna to be behind. They should be losing as far as farm. That is very much so expected, but can look for kills later.
All right, Volibear near the mid lane. Niski hugging a little bit too far to the left-hand side.
I don't know if they saw set. They didn't, I don't think.
Looks like they might not have, but now they're picking up to go towards the scuttle. So suddenly, Spica with the vision advantage comes in, puts the storm down, Blabber walks away, and easy smite comes through, well played by Spica, grabs that one, takes a camp out there, equalizes the total farm across the two junglers. Bjergsen wants to get a trade, one more auto, there's the electrocute. Niski wants it back in, gets it for himself, and that is what that looks like. Spica and Bjergsen not able to really reply to that.
Yeah, very, very well done there by Niski trading back. He is playing the electrocute. It's going to be about these short little trades. Interested to see what kind of a build he will go here. We've been seeing more diverging builds from the Azir. Some people are going Lost Chapter and then just sitting on that pretty much forever, going into Nashor's Tooth. Some people are then even just skipping the Lost Chapter altogether, saying, I don't need that mana. I can actually just go Doran's Ring and a Dark Seal and then go straight towards my Nashors and Deathcap and Leandries and these types of more team fight powerful items. So will be interesting to see where they go. Spica has been spotted.
Very smart ward. If he has smite, he gets the big Krug. No problem there. Auto is going to be a... can't quite get the second one off for the Q, so no extra soul picked up, but Vulcan's going to go ahead and knock down the next. This medium Krug will allow the camp to respawn. If he wants to take the small ones for 18 gold, he can. But that will let the camp despawn, and Blabber won't have to go visit to it, and he can wait for the next one to come up later on. Still is golden XP taken by Spica. Well done to him. Check out the top lane. Temporarily a farm lead to Licorice. Broken Blade is going to whack him once real quick. Not sure if he got the craft off in time, and knocks down a cannon. Overall, though, farm pretty good for Licorice so far.
Yeah, Licorice doing well. He's just got to try to withstand this. You're not really looking to fight the Mordekaiser too much unless you can kind of poke him down if he makes too many mistakes. It's more just about withstanding the onslaught, getting as much farm as possible, getting to your foraged items where you start to really become very, very useful, obviously, in those team fights. And it's also interesting to notice that, Vulcan is actually the one playing the Senna. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was actually the opposite. A lot of people, when you do have the fasting Senna, actually put your standard marksman player on that because they are so comfortable playing, this marksman-style champion. And generally speaking, Sven would probably spend way less time playing melee champions than Vulcan, and now they're looking for the engage.
Flash comes in, it's going to land the root that couldn't quite flash over it. Spica just the wrong timing on that. Might have set up differently. Regardless, though, still burns double sums off of Vulcan up in that bottom lane.
Yeah, not bad at all. Bjergsen almost actually died. I saw his health just on the frames there. It looked like he was at like 5%. So him and Niski obviously went at it pretty heavily. Bjergsen does not get solo killed, but it looked like Vulcan was trying to just barely eke out not having to flash. He hit the W and healed for move speed, and then realized he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to avoid that stun or not, so does commit the flash, and nicely done there. They'll get the TP out of Sven. It is going to be a Sheen early on, so very aggressive option. He clearly is looking for that burst, not feeling afraid of this matchup, and will be going for the most burst out of this Triforce instead of going for something like the Phage or even attack speed to try to play it, maybe a little bit more safely.
Good stun, good poke. Cannot get away from Doublelift's hail of arrows either, so already Sven's at half HP, and even if he couldn't have afforded to buy the full Phage, because it's a 200 gold or so difference, you could still go long to Ruby Crystal and be like, yeah, I want the stats now so I don't die. But he's like, no. Yes, we're going Sheen, we're going for the burst, no combat stats otherwise.
Yep, and it's very clear what they want to do. When you see that, it's like, I want to kill you, right? That is the reason you buy the Sheen. It's the same thing generally when you see, Aurelias and stuff go for these types of items. They are looking more for the all-in, less about just being able to sit through this. Doublelift is up quite a bit of farm, and they actually kind of had held the wave, pretty nicely. It will push out now towards C9, but Doublelift does have his TP, and because he's TPing much later, he's going to have the better buy. He will have more gold there, so a lot of long swords, some lethality being purchased up here for him, and we'll see if he can start to get lane dominance.
Niski having a hard time finding how to trade against Bjergsen there as the wave comes down. Health bar dropped a fair bit lower, and it is going to be the last chapter early for the Azir here, as we get the ability power stacked up here. Bjergsen on his side had to take a slightly earlier recall, and thus less efficient items, as the cannon is going to be grabbed by Vulcan, as Sven couldn't quite do it. 70 gold goes over to the support down there. Personally, I'm a fan of, I see your point about like, hey, have a marksman player play the marksman. I'm a fan though of playstyle differences where, I'm the one who catches side lanes, I'm the one who's the carry, I'm the one who does the poke. Like, I actually like when the supports are playing the Senna when you are going Spectral Sickle. I'm a fan of that personally, and now we get a fight in the top side. Easy Sun gonna land for Licorice, good bit of damage there, and can't quite get the second auto. Flashes for it, is not enough to kill Broken Blades. It slows, forces the flash, not gonna go for any more, but that does force the flash down, and now Niski can show up. How about the ulti? Doesn't even get to cast it. The kill out of the turret, the dabbing penguin. A kill on the board, and now Sven wants it on double, but isn't level 6. Means the health bar gets so very low, he almost goes down.
Yeah, he is incredibly low. Biofrost still has his ultimate. We'll see if they want to try to fish for it. Doesn't look like they're going to make the commitment, and Bjergsen is down here, so Sven has got to keep running. Blabber could actually be in trouble for a potential dive if they realize that the bot lane's gone.
Okay, a lot of danger. Go to turn off the turret. Blabber says, okay, let me put that in me as well. Flashes, still gets stunned and cannot get out. Well-timed Q by Biofrost. No way to leave that stun.
Yeah, that was perfectly done there. Blabber was mashing the flash, but still, once it's actually casted and it connects with you, it will bind to the place that basically it would have originally. Here is this play one more time. Licorice knows he has Niski roaming up. There was actually pings on it, so Broken Blade did realize it as well. I think he would have actually needed to try to flash the knock up there, but perhaps underestimating how much damage was actually in the tank, because when you don't flash the knock up, you're allowing that to come through for that damage. You're allowing the extra brittle hit to come through. He did still have his ult, so I think he was hoping that he could actually defend himself with this. Then Blabber, I do actually think, plays this right, sitting into the ultimate. His W is on cooldown, so he knows he's in trouble. And if you actually just don't go inside this ultimate, you might be thinking, oh, well, that's silly, you're going to get stunned out of it. But the turret will be turned off, and you will just die. So he's hoping that he can buy enough time for Vulcan to come back and potentially save him for his, for his W cooldown to maybe come up. Something like that, but that was just a really nice dive from TSM. Good roam for the Bjergsen.
Alrighty, so an exciting game to start things out. Kills on the board on both sides. We crest 10 minutes into the game, and gold is deadlocked between the two. Now, over the next 5 minutes, on average, Cloud9 earns 2,500 more gold than their opponent. Over the next 5 minutes, that is the statistical average, and we'll see if they can do that one here. Bjergsen, big chunk in the mid lane, as Niski's got to regret that one a bit as he goes towards his next components there. Bjergsen's feeling real comfortable in mid. Goes for round 2. Bit more poke on Niski.
Yeah, it does poke him out pretty nicely there. Has a heavy health advantage, and Licorice just not scared of this matchup at all. Remember, Broken Blade has no flash, but he does have the ulti, so the dive would be hard.
Pulls in one, a lot of damage there. Not going to be enough to kill. Broken Blade still hold on to the ulti, but he's summonerless and health barless and has to walk away from top lane.
Yeah, and the wave's going to be pushing towards him, and he has no TP, so he will be losing quite a lot. But Spica has the Rift Herald. They're knocking down multiple plates here, and then they can actually drop Rift right after this if they want. They know that Niski got chunked out. They knew he didn't have teleport, so they're actually just going to take Niski's tower from full here. And that is very punishing, because Azir really wants this bastion of safety to be able to farm safely at. We have LeBlanc on the other side, who's happy to roam around, who's happy to skirmish, who has so much more mobility and safety. Bjergsen looking.
Niski goes through to summon the turret, which is going to stop dive from meaning anything. Now Spica's got to be careful. He does have flash, but he's dunked back in. Ults back out, flashes for some movement, just barely stays alive. Onto the bottom side, double gets put at under 100 HP. That is what Cloud9 wanted to do, and they finally find something.
Man, there are just fights everywhere. The observers cannot watch every place at once. Mid lane, it looked like Cloud9 was actually looking to try to take down Bjergsen, take down Spica. They almost get it there. And on that bottom lane, the first all-in here comes in from Sven, comes in from Vulcan. You can see both their ultimates were committed. They just barely weren't able to kill off Doublelift, and now Blabber is behind him, so Doublelift potentially in trouble, but Blabber doesn't have his ulti.
Ulti list, yeah, does find a bit of a CC, but not enough to kill out Doublelift, who's forced to burn the flash to get away. One plate drop to the top side, or in the bottom side, I should say, and now here comes Volibear. This is going to be the re-engage, damage on a Blabber, chunked a bit low, gets the heal and is going to run away, staying alive out of that one, as Vulcan actually burns Summoner heal to give him the move speed to get away from that one. So yeah, nice roam by the opposing jungler.
It looked like Biofrost actually mistimed his Q as well. Did not latch. I'm not even sure if it hit onto Blabber. It may have hit just for the slow, not 100% sure on that one, but either way, you know, Cloud9 trying to put pressure here onto Doublelift. Now with the flash down, that is pretty dangerous for Doublelift, you know, knowing that the ultimates will be back up from this Cloud9 2v2 before Doublelift has flash, so Blabber doing a really good job there, and he's going to be in trouble now.
Teleport coming in. Bjergsen wants to be part of this 2v1, and there is no way out for the set. Bjergsen onto the board to give him a kill number 2. Nicely done by Spica. Says, hey, come over here. This is the freebie, and they knock it down.
TP's in, grabs a nice kill, already has his Ludens here. TSM is looking really, really good, and you know, it's not like Cloud9 can just depend upon their standard late game team fighting. You know, Sven is playing a very different style of champion. You know, yes, he will be accustomed to where to go to pick up farm and how to play it out in that regard, but playing a melee champion, and especially an engaged melee champion, is so different from playing your standard marksman. We'll have to see how he does do. This guy obviously is a very big solo queue grinder, so I'm sure he has been putting in the time, you know, sitting at rank 1 for a lot of this season, if not still rank 1 right now.
Red buff fight level 8 on both. Easy stun gonna land. Here comes the play for it. It's gonna be Spike coming through, and the kill coming in right afterwards as well. Blabber wearing a red buff out of this. Biofrost runs through the portal, but now the Ornn on the bottom side has a lot of damage on a Bjergsen. He's hitting him up for almost his entire health bar. Oh. He's got 30 health left. Can Bjergsen get away? He can for now, but not for long enough. The Azir Emperor is here. Shrima will rise again, and Bjergsen will fall.
Licorice almost just 100-0 Bjergsen there, and then Niski gets the shutdown. Licorice is getting really, really strong. I mean, he's 30 CS up on Broken Blade. Yes, there was some roams and some helps up for Licorice, but this is supposed to be the winning matchup here for Broken Blade, so you know, falling behind like that is very problematic as this Mordekaiser. Licorice is going to be incredibly strong in the team fighting. You know, very quickly we'll be working towards his Sunfire Cape, have those double upgraded items, and Cloud9's frontline is going to be really, really beefy with this tank set, with the Ornn. They do have good engage, they have the follow-up, so they're going to be looking to dive into the back line with Vulcan's ult layered over top, shielding them up, giving them even more durability to create space for Niski to really pump out the damage.
All right, but looking at the game state, though, it's only a 700 gold difference. It is, though, TSM ahead out of this one. Cloud9's leads are in top and jungle, their primary melee champions. TSM's leads, though, are on a Varus and a LeBlanc. If you're looking for gold leads on 2 players, those are the ones you want them on. Bjergsen and Doublelift with some absurd amount of trophies between the two of them, probably around 15 or so. That's going to be a lot of pain that Cloud9 has to deal with when we get ourselves into the team fights. As well, Bjergsen is on split push, and honestly, the 1v1 doesn't get any harder when he's down to the side lane.
I just don't know, you know, is Doublelift far enough ahead for this, you know, pick to really have kind of paid off in the 2v2? Because I do think, like, the engage is going to be so scary. Bjergsen, though, looking aggressively here for Niski. Power shots leaving
turret shots, but goes in for another one. Oh. And look at that! Bjergsen with the solo kill in the side lane.
Wow, Bjergsen just going back in for it. Had Niski corralled there. Does end up getting this solo kill, despite the fact that Vulcan shot out the Santa ultimate. It was just a little bit too late. And Bjergsen now going to take full control in this side lane. Oh, nice ult.
Beautiful. That ult was perfect. Spica has to run, but he's knocked into the air. Ult's over the wall. The follow through. Sven comes over and takes him down, burns the flash, and gets the kill again. Cloud9 keep up.
Yeah, Spica's having some pretty careless deaths. That is twice now he's been picked off, you know, in their opponent's jungle. Clearly, they do not have any vision in there. So why are you in there just trying to take away camps? There's not a single TSM ward in that side of the map. There's nothing in the jungle, so they have got to play that a little bit more carefully. Vulcan is actually going for a Phage here, so I'm guessing he's going Black Cleaver, potentially, to actually shred maybe for the Wukong for the set.
Yeah, shouldn't be Trinity Force.
But that would be
please don't go Trinity Force. That is actually the worst item to buy on this champion. as more health comes in. So yeah, that is the components of Cleaver. So not going to be Mallet, will be Cleaver.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's heavy CDR, which is also really, really nice for the Senna. That is one of the things that I think feels pretty bad about going for that Frozen Mallet. But they are looking to ult this turret potentially and go for Niski.
Does not land the chain. That would have been a couple hundred damage dealt right there. But he's got to be respectful still as Balfrost shows up.
They're in trouble.
Q should be pretty easy. Lands the stun. There's the rest of the burst. Can't kill him just yet. And here comes the reinforcements. There comes the root, though. Over the wall comes Sven. A little bit more damage will knock him down. And Sven, so far, so good on the bot lane Wukong.
Nicely done. Grabs another kill for himself there. TSM perhaps overestimating how much damage they could actually get down onto the Azir, who ended up being fairly tanky, just sitting on that Null Magic Mantle, but making a pretty big difference against Biofrost and Bjergsen here. And this is not a LeBlanc with Ignite. That's something you've got to remember. You know, if you have Ignite there, you probably have the damage to actually knock him down. Broken Blade, though, in trouble up on the top side.
And yet again, Broken Blade will be slowed. Stun to the minion wave. Good damage here. Still not going to burn the ulti just yet. Goes for the pullback on a Licorice. And I think Broken Blade has not ulted all game
That's what
long.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, Broken Blade just kind of holding on to it, walking away. Sadly, is playing the weak side of the map. And this turret, not long for the world.
It just seems weird. Like, in that situation, why not try to punish Blabber? You know, if you can actually pull him close enough to your turret and hit him with the ulti, there is potential to actually kill him off. But Broken Blade getting attacked a lot, not really getting any help from his team, so he's just getting put more and more behind. This Mordekaiser starting to look pretty worthless. TSM, though, down on the bottom side, looking to pick up their second Dragon on the game. This should be theirs pretty easily, as Cloud9 not really even in a position to fight for this whatsoever. And you know, if TSM can work towards the Infernal Soul, that would be great. The Varus, the LeBlanc, both of these champions, you know, very reliant on their poke. And it's like essentially an extra Ludens just kind of put on top. It does make your poke very, very dangerous.
Yes, it does. So now the red buff attempt, not going to be easy for Niski at all. Easy smite. Spica on his third time into the red buff jungle. Finally takes it down.
This time, actually had support. You know, he had LeBlanc around, he had Bard with him, so that one made a bit more sense. You know, besides kind of those solo adventures that he had been going on, those were a little bit too risky for my taste. We can see Sven now has the Triforce completed. He's going to be working towards the Death Dance. This is standard as standard gets, really, for Wukong these days. Licorice almost to those upgraded items, and he has both his items completed. You know, has farmed very well on this Ornn. You know, they took down the tower, so he has extra gold there too. And now ticks over to 13, gets that double upgrade. So Ornn is pretty much fully online. Nashers is done for the Azir. So a lot of things looking good over on that Cloud9 side. For TSM, I think they really are kind of waiting for this death cap to be completed. They're going to be feeling a lot happier about where they're sitting in this game, because Bjergsen has been the main person making things happen for the squad.
Yeah, absolutely been a huge force. I mean, he has literally all of their kills, and there's at most 1 out of 3 KP on any other player on TSM. It is so much about Bjergsen doing it by himself, and it's working. The gold lead, it was there a moment ago. It's tied back up for now, but at least TSM is up in Drake. But as bot lane turret falls, Cloud9 have reasserted a small gold lead. 20 minutes, which is then immediately answered by, of course, it's Bjergsen. But now more CC for Blabber. Cannot lock him up long enough, though. The magical journey was there, and out goes TSM.
So one thing I do kind of want to talk about is, you know, there's obviously a pretty big difference in the soul lanes right now, right? Licorice is fairly ahead of Cloud9. Bjergsen is fairly ahead. Oh, we're going to see a TP, so we'll cut that off.
Here comes the big play. Blabber's got to be careful. Gets the ulti down to buy some space, but he's still going to be chunked in, and he is in the Death Realm with Broken Blade. So it's a 1v1 for now. He has to keep cutting away. Now the rest of the damage comes across as the team comes through, and they get the rest of the kill in. Nicely done. TSM again on the board.
Yeah, they get that kill. I don't know if they want to go to Baron here. That would be pretty risky. Their sustained damage is quite low, so I think it will just be the push, trying to get more out of this. But, you know, basically C9 has invested a lot of their resources to put their tank ahead, whereas on the other side, it's Bjergsen getting a lot of help. It's always, you know, Biofrost and Spica and people attacking Niski, trying to put him down. And I think that's more problematic, potentially, you know, than the Mordekaiser being behind. Licorice looking for the engage, though.
Here's the play yet again. A lot of damage down. Broken Blade will fall off. Sven not going to be traded back just yet. He's in the back line. He's going to force double it from the flash. It's going to miss. He can't catch the Varus. The burst damage for Varus. 2, 3 more autos, but it's not going to be enough. And Sven again cleans up another kill. Bjergsen around the wing is going to find a root onto Licorice, who immunes the root himself, but now Speak and Bowfrost are there to knock down the tank on the top side, but he's so durable, it's not going to work out just yet. Re-engage again, they find the knockup. Vulcan claims the kill. So far, so good. Passing grades for Sven in team fights. Yet to do anything wrong here, and it's Broken Blade who is dead. It's Bjergsen trying to run away. Blabber on the chase, can't find too much more to do, but Cloud9 in team fights are excelling.
They're going to get this because, you know, while TSM doesn't have good sustained damage, guess what? You have a Zir. That's all the sustained damage you are ever going to need. You stack up the triple Sand Soldier. There's no jungler alive, so Bjergsen is going to have to try to look for some heroics. They can delay with the Bard ulti. Varus is TPing back in, but this should be Cloud9's. It's just going down too fast.
If there's no miracle, it's going to go to Cloud9. 3 versus 5. This is the play. Is it going to be enough? Q comes over. Smite is true for Blabber. Just like the damage it deals. Out goes Cloud9 after a great team fight. 2,500 gold lead and a Baron buff on all 5.
Yeah, they're barely able to stay alive with multiple members in this fight. And this was just a great engage. They know that Broken Blade has no ultimate, so they can go for this immediately straight onto the Mordekaiser. They catch him. Sven goes through right over onto Doublelift, and it looked like he actually maybe tricked them a bit. It felt like TSM was actually hitting the clone somewhat there, and Sven just barely getting the E cooldown back, kites away from Bjergsen, bides his time until the spells are on cooldown, until Vulcan and Niski do arrive, and then he can actually re-engage. And he stayed around. Bjergsen is out of there, so there's not going to be enough damage from this tank Volibear and Bard to actually kill him off, so able to rejoin with the team, get another kill. Multiple QSS also purchased up here now for Cloud9. That feels like they're saying we are in a position where we could actually, you know, go aggressively, where we want to take fights, where we want to be able to push the pace. And having the QSS to get out of something like a Varus ultimate when the Wukong is going forward is going to be really, really valuable. And there's one on Blabber and Sven. So with the Baron buff, with those multiple QSSs, they could look to really deal some damage to TSM.
And I'll bet you coming into the year, Sven had like 3 total games on Wukong in his entire life. And this looks like he's been playing it for his entire career, man. He's been doing so well in every single team fight. Laning phase, yeah, it's rough. You're against double range. This is what it's going to look like. But in team fights, he's been perfect. The ult's been on point, 3-0 and 3. It's great work down here in the bottom lane. Sven can do it all. And now Cloud9 have tied up the dragon count. It's going to be a long time till we hit Soul. And TSM still playing the game close. The difference not that big in this game. Under 3K is better than the vast majority of teams can do at 23 minutes against Cloud9. But it is C9 starting to build out that lead.
Yeah, and I like their composition as far as team fighting a lot more too. So if you are actually getting pushed in by this Baron buff, it does get difficult. It's going to be on TSM to find picks, to utilize the Bard ulti, to utilize, you know, poke from Doublelift to soften someone up so maybe Bjergsen can fly in and finish them off. But if that does not happen, it does get pretty difficult because Ornn is becoming, you know, nearly invincible at this point. The upgraded items are coming through for multiple members on C9. A locket now completed, which I do really like for Licorice there, you know, to help keep his teammates alive through any potential LeBlanc burst. You drop that down, and it does get very difficult for Bjergsen to have enough damage to kill off someone like Niski.
All right, here comes the Ornhorn again to the top side. It's going to be CC on the 1. A lot of lockdown there onto the poor Bard. It's going to be enough to knock down the turret. Now Blabber over the wall wants in, finds a small stun on Spica, who's going to ult back away. Shield comes in for some damage. Out they go. Good poke, but Doublelift is now out of mana. And Licorice, he's tanky, but he is alone. Finally, the reinforcements come in. It's going to be enough to force TSM backwards. The root on the Mordekaiser means no fight to be had. And again, Cloud9 are safe. Now 4,000 gold ahead. They have turned the corner, and their team fight prowess is just pushing TSM around.
Yeah, Licorice, maybe alone, but he's a one-man team on the Ornn. So damn tanky. Cannot really get knocked down there. And giving a little check-in on the Senna. Vulcan has over 70 stacks. So before that last fight, he had 71 stacks, I do believe. You know, that is very, very impressive. You know, 3 range upgrades already coming through. He's going to have his next one fairly shortly after that. And it is giving you the additional damage too. So despite this, you know, fairly defensive build that he's actually going for, you can become pretty damn annoying. You're constantly, you know, shredding armor. You're applying the CC and little bits of damage to him.
And he's going Frozen Mallet next. Giant's Belt's part of that combined, so we'll see what actually comes through for him as Sven just keeps clearing down the waves. He's actually getting a lot of farm there. Right, second place on the team. He's catching a lot of these waves up so far, especially when you consider how bad that early lane had to be for him. Doing just fine in this regard. We'll now see what the resets look like as the neutral objectives are gone for 2 minutes each. And Cloud9 with the lead should be looking to continue to play aggressively. Wards littering this right-hand side jungle. All three down in a row, saying, yep, this is the path we want to control. Drake is the next thing we're playing for.
Yep, so some more items getting completed here. We have the Death Dance coming through, the Banshee's Veil, those are going to be pretty big. Broken Blade looks like he's building towards a Nashor's, which can be very effective against some of these beefy frontliners. If you're just planning to ult someone like Set or Ornn, then having the Nashor's can be actually very nice in that kind of ultimate duel. So it does make some sense there. Bjergsen now, big buy for him, has the Void Staff completed, so he's got 3 of those really, really powerful items and is level 16 where that LeBlanc ultimate cooldown becomes very short, and you can really start to get a lot of work done, with the distortions into the double Qs or even double distort, looking for AoE on stacked up team members from Cloud9.
Yeah, great skill and spike for this champion. I think Bjergsen can definitely take the game into his own hands, but has to find those big flanks, has to be kind of the man of the match here because TSM kind of bleeding out in all places at this point. I'd be surprised if any one of their players had a gold lead aside from Bjergsen off the kills and farm that he has, because it feels like, we get to the group part. The first 10 minutes, sometimes even the first 15, teams can hold up against Cloud9. TL got to 15 before it fell apart. TSM got to 15 before it fell apart. But the later on into the game you look, the more and more likely you are that Cloud9 are absurdly far ahead, that their team fighting, their macro play, their coordination, whatever it has always been better than their opponents. And it looks like every other Cloud9 game at this point on, where they're 28 minutes in with a 10% gold lead, and they're ready to take control of the entire map.
I've got to give a little bit more credit to that, though, I feel like, than TSM.
Okay.
It felt like it was close, even a bit later than that, to like 20 minutes. And to be fair, Cloud9 usually wins the game on their first berry, so it's a bit closer than that. We will see if they can hang on, though. C9 obviously looking good. They do force that stopwatch out of Blabber.
And TP for Broken Blade, with, thankfully for him, the movement speed means he can kite away. Vulcan takes a piercing arrow from Doublelift, but they still want to run forward. Qs through a ward for some damage. Vulcan narrowly dodged the chain that would have dropped him below 1,000 HP. More poke for Doublelift makes this fight hard for Cloud9. Baron is up. Dragon is up in 15 seconds, and C9, yes, with several members a bit low on health, this fight might be difficult.
On the flank.
Speak on the flank might just be dead meat, though, as Licorice is right around him. Cannot quite catch Doublelift. Puts in the ulti, though, as Sven has come around for the flank, and Vulcan just shuts him down. Crowd controlling the entire team. Bjergsen chunked low. Sven goes in for the play, lands the Q, and kills his fellow Dane. And another ulti comes in. More knockups, more kills. Niski steps up Sven with the alley-oop, and it's time to push in. 5 versus 2. No one can stand against Cloud9, not even TSM. As they knock down the middle inhibitor turret, the inhibitor itself going to drop as well. And look at the positioning. They want the Nexus now. They're going in the front lines. Licorice can tank the turrets. And how much can Biofrost and Spica even do? Most teams lose by 30 minutes. Well, guess what? TSM is most teams to Cloud9 as he goes sky high. The kills come through. There is nothing else for TSM to do. Cloud9 undefeated in the first round robin.
Perfect 9-0 here to start off the summer split for Cloud9, making it look easy down the stretch. TSM made them work for it in the early stages, but Cloud9, end of the day, they find their fight, they close it out, they make it looks so easy to end games. It's just